muziek van Venus. De muziek die u hoorde is geïnspireerd door Omnek Onek. En zij zegt dat ze als klein kind van Venus is gekomen met een boodschap voor de aarde. We gaan met haar praten in het Engels, want dat is haar oorspronkelijke taal. Welcome, Omnek Onek. You are from Venus.
Yes, this is correct.
Would that mean if I would take an aircraft or a spacecraft to Venus, I would meet Venusians there?
No, not necessarily. We at one time had physical societies, but now the planet is in a cycle where it's no longer inhabitable by physical life. So we exist on another dimension, which is parallel to the physical. It's a higher frequency. So our whole societies and people does not have a physical existence anymore.
Is there a way to get in touch with that other frequency and that other dimension?
Well, on the surface of the planet Venus at this time, there is still a physical city that was preserved. When it was a physical society, it is called the city of Retz. It was at one time the capital of our planet, our societies, and it was preserved under a special climatic invisible dome, which protects it from invasions or people seeing it. And at the same time, it exists on the other dimension. It's a parallel city. This enables us to manifest the physical body, to come into your societies, and also to, when we manifest our ships, we manifest on the astral everything that we need rather than building with physical material. We manifest our ships, and then we can also bring them into the physical for interdimensional or space travel.
Are there now spacecraft from Venus around us?
Yeah, there are many ships out there, some of them from Venus and some of them not. We do have big ships that carry the smaller ones, and then the smaller ones come into actually the location of the planet itself, various places they will land.
So all the stories we hear about UFOs and sightings here and there, are they true, or at least approximately true, that there has been contact with?
Oh yeah, there have been many contacts made for thousands of years, and I think the real public started to know more about it in the 1950s more than any other time. And basically some of the sightings are real and some of them aren't, so it's hard to discern whether they're real or not, but there are actually real spaceships.
Yeah. You say, I come from Venus, and you come with a message for the world, which you've put down in some books, like Ich kam von der Venus, I came from Venus. You have another book, Handbook for Venusian Spirituality. The lessons you describe are fairly practical earth lessons about mantras and energy and things that matter for daily life.
Yeah, that's correct.
Why do we need a Venusian to tell us the truth about ourselves?
Well, I think because I go into a larger perception of yourselves in relation to the universe and make you aware through my knowledge a lot of the lost history of the human civilizations on Earth, and that indeed the first colonies of people were brought here from other planets a long time ago. And this knowledge has been lost through your wars and the rebuilding of your civilizations. You've picked up fragments of the information, so I sort of try to make the whole picture clear and then give you an idea of how to change your own perceptions of yourselves versus the universe, and it gives you a broader perspective of your life rather than just from one limited kind of point of view, just from the Earth point of view.
Now in history, what has happened is that we first saw the Earth and human beings as the center of the universe, and then we came to the conclusion that, hey, maybe the sun is the center of the solar system.
Yep.
And now we believe that, we are part of the whole galaxy, and the galaxy is part of endless galaxies. And now you're telling, even within the solar system, there is other civilizations, cultures.
Yeah.
Venus it's not too far off.
No, it's kind of a sister planet for Earth. And since the colonies were brought here from these other planets a long time ago, then of course it's just your ancestors. We're just, your relatives in a way. And so what we're doing now is we're trying to take you a step further and make you aware of other dimensions, other realities that exist, even though you can't physically see them, that they are real, you know, that they do exist. And so it's teaching you to have a perspective of reality and another view. And
would it help us to see those other realities? Like the mystics of all times have had experiences of seeing things where people have seen angels, where people have seen little elves.
well, that's why I'm here, you know, to show you that it's possible. Even though I physically look like you, I age a lot slower. I do have a faster heart rate. It's been recorded. Carry my children several months longer. Manufacture my own calcium. And my brain is not separated into two halves, you know, like yours. It's synchronized. It's works together, where that you only have...
is that one of the problems of our human condition, that there is in the middle, there's a left and a right, and then sometimes it works together, but most of the time one of the two hemispheres in the brain takes over and makes us either very emotional or very rational?
Well, this is the problem. Most of the time you only utilize the part that helps you in your perception and your ability to communicate and to live here in the physical, but you don't have the ability to perceive the other dimensions and the other beings that exist. And but in the future, this will actually be corrected, because this wasn't the natural condition of man. This was done in the time right after the destruction of Atlantis. It was done by an aggressive race of beings who wanted to manipulate and control the people here. This division was made that way so that you wouldn't have a perception, and you would only have the perception of the physical, and it would make it easier for you to work.
Now there is technology like brain machines and certain meditation techniques that help you already bridge the gap a little bit. Is your teaching along the same lines?
Yes, I teach that it's possible with certain frequencies, which I've incorporated into my CD for the meditation techniques. And I'm teaching that in the future, the Earth is also going to go into a different vibratory rate, and that the human beings are actually going to change a lot physically. But it will be such a gradual change that it won't be so sudden that it will be that noticeable. There will be noticeable changes, but a lot of people won't be aware of what they are. So what I'm teaching is to notice what the
happening.
Are. Yeah, the differences that you will feel.
Now, the old Hindus already said that they believed that there were many worlds and many planets, and that there were many civilizations, and that people would not die, but just go over in another lifetime, in another dimension, in another space.
Right.
So this is basically the same as the Venusian beliefs.
Yes. These are older teachings than the Earth even itself, and a lot of the religions that exist on your planet actually came from this basic teaching. Yes, we teach you that when you die, it's just a transition from one existence to another. The physical body is no longer inhabitable. It's like if you drive an automobile, you're not the car, you're the driver. So this body is your vehicle while you live here in the physical, and your soul is the driver, is the one that's in charge. And this soul, when this body dies, of course, it can't live here anymore, so it has to leave. And it resides somewhere else, unless it decides to come back for some reason or another in another physical body.
Now, coming back in another physical body is called birth. Now, you had 4 children, but where do the children then come from? Their souls? They come from space or whatever?
They come from other dimensions.
From another dimension, and they decide to materialize here.
Yeah, they make a choice. Every human being makes a choice as soul before they're ever a physical being as to what life they will go into and with whom, depending on their relation with them at other times. And it's mostly just for learning, for an experience. This is really what we're here for, but most of us don't know that, you know. So it makes it a little more difficult if you don't have this information.
Does it help to see this lifetime then as a learning process, as a school for growing?
Yeah, this really helps a lot, because a lot of people get so involved emotionally and mentally and feeling that the fear that when this life is over, what's going to happen. If they have the opportunity to understand a different point of view, it gives them a little more relaxation and a little more ease in their life, you know, and they look at every situation just a little differently than they would if they didn't have this information.
Yeah. You bring some practical things like mantras, sounds that according to your book, help you to develop certain qualities. Can you explain a little bit about it?
Well, these are ancient Sanskrit mantras from Tibet, because we have a non-spoken language on Venus. And at one time...
Like a telepathy thing?
Yes, and at one time all the human beings on Earth also communicated this way. But then they had to develop a spoken language when this division was made of the brain. And first it was symbols, I think. Then it transported into spoken language. And Sanskrit is one of the oldest spoken languages. So it has a lot of power because it's one of the original languages. And we choose to use Sanskrit mantras in relation to the other dimensions, and because they have a certain vibration. And each dimension has a color and a sound. And this is what I incorporate in the CD, is the sound of the dimension, the color, and the mantra. And when you repeat this mantra, it gives you the experience of this other dimension, you know, through your own self, through your own...
a name in itself might also be a mantra. Omnek, Onek. What does it mean?
Well, it's a Venusian name, which means spiritual rebound. And actually, it's derived from Sanskrit itself, and it means spiritual comeback. And because I've lived on Earth many times before, but this time I have a spiritual mission.
Do you remember the previous times?
Many of them, yes.
Have things changed for the better?
I would say it was half and half, you know. At this point, it could be better. And the mistakes in the past is that your technology has raced ahead of your awareness and consciousness, and it's always ended in a destruction. And at this point, there is a big influx of spiritual information and what you call the esoteric movements. That is to equalize your technology with your awareness so that we don't go into a destructive mode. And this is what our work is.
So technology that is like not paralleled by spiritual development doesn't lead anywhere. Doesn't lead to destruction, in fact.
Well, spiritual awareness and understanding and changing your perceptions and ridding yourselves of the divisions of the races and the cultures and the religion, and realizing there is no superiority in any of this, that there is no superior human being, race, culture, or world. You have the ability then to have use of greater technology, because this comes with spiritual awareness.
Yeah, but you can say we're not inferior or superior to another race, but here you are Venusian, you live longer, you come from other realities. Jesus, I feel inferior to you as a Venusian. I mean, only an earthling. I mean, I'm bound to my own reality and spiritual, material dimensions. Gee,
well,
you can...
I am too now, you know. I can't go back and live in the other dimension because I've manifested a physical body. And I was brought here to actually go into your society and experience from a person that lived here. I grew up with a rarely normal family in America, who some of them were very prejudiced, very limited in their spiritual understanding. And this gave me the opportunity from an experience point of view to really be immersed in heart, and had to work hard at sometimes, raise my own children. And I am actually kind of limited here too. You know, I don't have the ability to mentally communicate with someone because you don't have the ability to receive it if I send it. But this was your original state as human beings a long time ago. You know, this was also things that were possible for you. A lot of you don't live so long because you're taught by your societies that you are old at 60 or 65 years old, when in reality it's not true. So you've accepted this as true, and so therefore you've created this in your genetic structures by your belief system. And, well, I just turned 50, but I hope to live a lot longer.
But so you say the belief system is really the basis of what we are, even our lifespan, our society.
Yeah. Some of your illnesses as well.
So we are living in a state of hypnosis all the time by some outer energy.
Well, if they're telling you that certain things give you cancer and you believe this, you might develop this cancer inside of yourself because you don't realize the power of your thoughts. And this is what I'm teaching people, that a lot of your mental structure and your thought patterns have a lot to do with your situations, not only within yourself but within your society. And if you want it to change, then you have to realize that you have the power to change it by changing your own perspectives and your own way of living in relation to the people around you. Then you can create a different world.
Some people believe that. Some others did believe it and came back with a vengeance and said, well, I had this terrible disease or whatever. I started believing that I could change my future, and I tried and it didn't work, and now I call all these people who claim this liars because I wasn't cured, and so on. So this is a double-edged sword.
That's absolutely true, because of course you may bring with you kind of karmic situations for your own learning in this life, because you do bring with you certain karmic lessons that you have to go through, that is ordained for your experience. And among them might be certain diseases, so your life may not be as long as others because you only need a certain amount of experience. And yeah, it is.
It's a strange mix of being able to influence through your belief system that what happens to you, and that what you cannot, which is the karmic death that you.
I think it's a difference in believing and knowing, and a lot of people don't know how to really convince themselves. They have to be convinced by some other source. Because this is what happens in your societies. You're always convinced by other sources. This is what makes you have the choice of your different religions is through your parents. The influence of your parents. Your influence of your politics may come from your family or from your school. So a lot of the things are influences that come from outside sources, and I'm teaching people how to create this influence within themselves from their own source and their own strength and their own awareness of how great they really are. They don't realize their own power, and I teach them how to feel this power, to feel this energy, and to use it.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, you've put this in a couple of books.
Yeah.
It's called Ich kam von der Venus. Just as it's an autobiography. How about love on Venus?
Well, we have two. We have unconditional love, which is equal love for every living thing and respect. And then, of course, we have a kind of love that we would have for a particular partner, and which you would consider a sexual. It's two different things. And of course, we don't have sex because we don't have a physical body, but we do have.
You don't have babies then?
Yeah, we have children, but it's a different way. But it's an exchange of energy between the two people. It feels very similar, and even actually better than what you would actually experience here. And our children, it's a choice that we make, and then the soul is invited and does come in. It's through kind of a ritual ceremony, and it's very similar to the physical kind of birth.
But you see it as an invitation. It's not you who pick the children, so to speak. It's the children who pick you as to be the parents.
We say that we're ready at this time to have a child, to have this responsibility, and then the child has already chosen us that comes in, you know. And if for some reason physically you're not able to carry the child, or if you decide that you're not ready for this responsibility or commitment, then of course the soul will leave, but it will always return to you when the time is right. And if it doesn't come to you directly, it will come in some way very close to you that you still have this contact.
Well, a different view on reality, a different view on Earth and on Venus from Onek.
Thank you.
Thank you.